My name is Margaret Sullivan. At 67 years old, I never expected to be a widow with $53 million in my bank account. My only son, Daniel, recently married a woman named Vanessa after dating for just 6 months. Something in my gut told me to keep quiet about the fortune my late husband, Robert, left behind. Thank goodness I listened to that instinct, because 5 days after their wedding, Vanessa showed up at my doorstep with a lawyer into if you've ever had a nagging feeling about someone that you couldn't quite explain. This story is for you. Hit that like button, subscribe, and tell me in the comments, have you ever trusted your gut and been glad you did? Because what happened next proved that sometimes, silence is the most powerful weapon you have. Robert and I were married for 42 beautiful years before cancer took him from me. Most people in our town knew him as the friendly owner of Sullivan's Hardware. But few knew the empire he had quietly built over 4 decades. Robert started with absolutely nothing. The son of a factory worker, he dropped out of college when his father got sick and took a job at a local hardware store. He was only 22 with nothing but determination and a strong work ethic. We met when I came in looking for supplies to fix my apartment sink. I was 25, working as a kindergarten teacher. Most women your age would just call a plumber, he said with that crooked smile I grew to love. Most women my age don't have student loans and a broken-down car to pay for, I replied. He sold me the right parts and insisted on showing me how to fix the sink myself. We were married 8 months later. Soon after, Robert scraped together enough for a down payment on a tiny, struggling hardware store on the edge of town. This will be the first of many, he told me the day we got the keys. Over the next 20 years, he expanded to 23 stores across the Midwest. Through it all, we lived modestly. The same 4-bedroom house we bought when Daniel was born. Sensible cars. 1 vacation a year. Money should work for you, not the other way around, Robert always said. Flash your cash and you attract the wrong kind of people. When Daniel was born, Robert started setting aside money for his future. But we never let him know the true extent of our wealth. Robert wanted him to find his own path. Daniel chose academia instead of business. He earned his PhD and became a professor. Robert couldn't have been prouder. 3 years before his diagnosis, Robert received an offer from a national chain to buy Sullivan's Hardware. After much consideration, he accepted their $50 million offer. He invested most of it wisely. When Robert was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, it felt like the world had stopped spinning. He fought bravely for 14 months before passing away peacefully in our home. His last coherent words to me were, "Take care of our boy, but make sure he stands on his own 2 feet." After the funeral, I learned the full extent of what Robert had left me. Between the business sale, investments, life insurance, and our properties, I inherited $53 million. Daniel received a trust fund of $1 million that would mature when he turned 35. Robert had structured everything meticulously, making sure I would be the sole decision-maker regarding the bulk of the estate. Then, 6 months ago, everything changed. Daniel met Vanessa at a university fundraising gala. She was 29, strikingly beautiful, and worked as a pharmaceutical sales representative. Within 2 weeks, they were dating exclusively. Daniel brought her to Sunday dinner a month after they met. I remember the sound of her high heels clicking on my hardwood floors. Designer handbag on her arm. Diamonds glittering at her ears and throat. "Your home is so charming," she said, looking around with what I now recognize was calculation rather than appreciation. "Your husband ran some hardware stores," she said. "Was it a small local chain?" There was something about the way she asked that made me pause. Too direct. Too interested in the business rather than the man who built it. "Robert built it from the ground up," I replied simply. "He sold it before he passed, right?" she pressed. That must have been a nice retirement package. After dinner that night, Vanessa excused herself to use the bathroom. She was gone for nearly 20 minutes. Later, I found my bedroom door slightly ajar, though I always keep it closed. Nothing seemed disturbed, but it felt like someone had been looking through my things. Robert always told me, "Trust your gut, Margaret. It knows things before your head catches up." That night, my gut was sending me warning signals. But Daniel seemed happier than I'd seen him in years. So I kept my concerns to myself. Within 2 months, Vanessa had moved into Daniel's modest apartment. "Isn't this moving a bit fast, sweetheart?" I asked during one of our coffee dates. "When you know," he replied with a shrug that was completely out of character. Suddenly, Daniel was wearing designer clothes, had upgraded to a luxury watch, and was talking about trading in his reliable Honda. "I deserve to enjoy life a little, Mom," he said. Vanessa helped me realize I've been too conservative with my money. During dinner at an expensive restaurant, Vanessa steered the conversation toward family finances. "Your husband was quite the businessman," she said. "He must have left you well taken care of." "Robert was prudent with money," I answered non-committally. "But the hardware chain," she pressed. "That must have brought in millions, right?" "Robert handled all of that," I said, deliberately vague. I've never been much for financial details. This was, of course, untrue. Robert had made sure I understood every aspect of our finances. But something told me to keep that information to myself. 3 months into their relationship, Daniel canceled our long-standing plans to visit Robert's grave on his birthday. When I called, Vanessa answered his phone. "Daniel's in the shower," she said. "He feels terrible about today, but we had this charity gala that couldn't be missed. Career networking. You understand?" Just 4 months after they met, Daniel called with news that knocked the wind out of me. "We're engaged, Mom," he announced. "We're thinking next month." I couldn't keep the shock from my voice. "That's very soon, Daniel. When you find the right person, why wait?" he said, echoing Vanessa's words. The small ceremony Daniel described turned into a 150-guest event at the most expensive venue in our city. When they came to discuss wedding plans, Vanessa slid a spreadsheet across my kitchen table. "The total comes to just under $70,000, she announced casually. I offered $20,000. Generous, but nowhere near what they were asking. Vanessa's smile faltered. "We were hoping you might cover the full amount. After all, traditionally, the bride's family pays." "But Vanessa's parents are in a difficult financial situation," Daniel added. "Your father believed in financial responsibility," I said gently. $20,000 is my contribution. You two will need to adjust your plans." After they left, Daniel texted me, "Vanessa's upset. She says most mothers would be more generous, especially widows who were left well off." The day before the final venue walkthrough, I arrived early. In the hotel lobby, I overheard Vanessa on her phone. "Everything's going according to plan," she was saying. "The wedding's on track, and after that, it's just a matter of time before we get access to the family money." Daniel has no idea how much there really is. But his mother must be sitting on a fortune from that business sale. Once we're married, I'll work on convincing him to ask for our fair share. She can't take it with her. I slipped away before she could see me. My blood ran cold. This was confirmation of my worst fears. The next morning, I went straight to my attorney, Linda. "I need to protect my assets," I told her. "My son is marrying a woman who seems to be after my money." Linda nodded gravely. "Unfortunately, this is not uncommon where significant wealth is involved." We spent hours reviewing my entire estate plan. In most states, a new spouse would have no legal claim to my assets. But if Daniel inherited and then commingled those assets with marital property, things could get complicated. We set up trusts with specific conditions to protect his inheritance, even in the event of a divorce. I was protecting what Robert and I had built. But it meant keeping secrets from my only child at a time when we should have been celebrating his happiness. The memory of Vanessa's phone conversation answered my question. This wasn't just about protecting money. It was about protecting Daniel. The wedding was beautiful, if overproduced. Daniel looked handsome, but I noticed tightness around his eyes. When he recited his vows, his voice was steady, but lacked the emotion I would have expected. Vanessa seemed more focused on the photographer capturing her good side. Stop worrying about the cost. This is just the beginning. We'll be set for life soon enough. But these credit cards are in your name, her friend replied. And you've maxed out 3 of them. Vanessa laughed. Trust me, it's an investment. Daniel's mom is loaded. She just plays it down. The confirmation brought no satisfaction. Only a deep sadness for my son. 5 days after the wedding, I was in my garden when a sleek black Mercedes pulled up. Vanessa stepped out, along with a middle-aged man in an expensive suit, carrying a leather briefcase. Daniel was nowhere to be seen. Mrs. Sullivan, the man began. I'm Albert Wright, the family financial advisor. Vanessa has consulted me about a matter of family finances. He removed documents from his briefcase. It has come to our attention that you inherited approximately $53 million from your husband's estate. Vanessa found some of Robert's old business papers, the man continued. We've prepared a proposal for an initial distribution of $10 million to help the newlyweds purchase a home and clear debts. Additionally, a monthly stipend of $25,000. I stood up slowly, my decision made. I think this conversation has gone far enough. I'm going to have to ask you both to leave. Vanessa's mask slipped. You're making a mistake. Jackson will be devastated to learn how little you care about his future. This isn't over, Margaret. You can share what's rightfully part of our family now, or lose your son forever. The choice is yours. The next day, Daniel showed up at my door. He looked terrible. Bloodshot eyes. Rumpled clothes. Mom, he said, his voice breaking. Can I come in? He told me he'd found texts on Vanessa's phone. Messages to her friends planning everything. Got him to propose. Wedding next month. Mother-in-law still playing poor, but we know the truth. $$ coming soon. Need to push for house money right after wedding. Strike while emotional connection is high. And the most damning, Daniel clueless about family wealth. Once married, legal rights to assets. Lawyer says estate planning can be challenged. My son had been played. And he finally saw the truth. We called Vanessa over to discuss family financial matters. Her eagerness was obvious. When she arrived, Daniel confronted her with the evidence. At first, she tried denial. Tears. Indignation. I love Daniel. Yes, I was curious about family finances, but what wife wouldn't be? A wife who married for love wouldn't. Bring a financial advisor to demand $10 million 5 days after the wedding, I pointed out. When denial failed, she tried anger. Fine. What was I supposed to do? Marry some struggling academic with no prospects? Your family is sitting on $53 million while living like middle-class nobodies. What's pathetic is thinking money equals happiness or success. My father built his business through hard work and integrity. Values you clearly don't understand. The marriage was annulled 6 weeks later, declared legally void as if it had never happened. Vanessa threatened a legal battle but backed down when presented with the evidence. Daniel took responsibility for the wedding debt. I need to clean up my own mess, he said. 3 months later, Daniel and I established a new tradition of weekly financial discussions. Openly reviewing investments, plans, and philanthropic opportunities. I formally established a trust for him with specific conditions that reflected both protection and trust. Not because I don't trust your judgment, I explained. But because everyone deserves a second layer of security. I've been thinking about what to do with it eventually, he said. Maybe a scholarship fund for first-generation college students in Dad's name. His words filled me with pride. This was Robert's son, through and through. A year after the wedding that wasn't, Daniel began dating again. This time with a children's librarian named Kate, who drove a 15-year-old car and packed homemade lunches. Their relationship progressed slowly, built on shared interests rather than whirlwind romance. When he brought her to dinner, she spent more time asking about Robert's life stories than his business success. She doesn't know about the inheritance, Daniel told me. And I'm not going to tell her until I'm absolutely certain she loves me for me. The $53 million that Vanessa coveted remains largely intact. But its true value isn't in the numbered accounts or investment portfolios. Its value lies in the education fund we established for low-income students, in the small business loans we provide to entrepreneurs with dreams like Robert's, and in the security it represents for future generations. In the end, the fortune Robert left behind did exactly what he intended. It provided security without replacing the need for character, work ethic, and personal responsibility. By staying silent about that inheritance when my son got married, I protected not just the money, but the values it represented. Vanessa thought she could manipulate her way to millions. She thought she could play my son and take what Robert and I had built. But she didn't count on one thing: she didn't count on a mother's instinct. She didn't count on the fact that my silence wasn't weakness. It was strategy, Robert always said. Keep your cards close until you know who you're playing with. By staying silent, I gave Vanessa enough rope to hang herself. And by staying silent, I gave my son the space to see the truth with his own eyes. The $10 million she demanded is still in my accounts. But more importantly, my son is still in my life. And he finally understands the difference between wealth and worth. Money reveals character. It doesn't create it. The person who truly loves you won't care about your bank balance. And the person who cares about your bank balance doesn't truly love you. My husband taught me that. And now, my son has learned it too. Have you ever had to keep a secret to protect someone you love? I'd love to hear your stories in the comments below. If this story resonated with you, please like and subscribe to hear more life lessons from someone who's learned them the hard way. And remember, sometimes the best thing you can do is say nothing at all.
खत्म नहीं, ये तो सिर्फ शुरुआत है। इंतकाम की कहानी अभी बाकी है। पार्ट 2 जल्द आ रहा है, सिर्फ इसी चैनल पर। प्रोड्यूस्ड बाय दानियाल इमरान।